Climate change is real.
You heard the Minister of Nature. The local community of Aruba should be fully aware that climate change is indeed real, and it's here already making an impact. The first National Climate Resilience Council meeting took place recently, which gathered public and private stakeholders along with NGOs, academics, plus international partners together to discuss the data that's been collected thus far. Lead research experts from the Stimson Center presented the first introduction of the CORVI methodology to stakeholders.
CORVI is a climate and ocean risk and vulnerability initiative. It's a comprehensive study framework on assessing not only the land risks but also the ocean risks. And because we're an island country, of course, it's important to address both what is on land but also our oceans, which are fundamental to our society and tourism, particularly also for the island. So we had like a 3-hour discussion this morning on the methodology, what are the plans, who's going to get involved, what are some of the questions. So it was more of a technical meeting with all the members involved in this initiative, which is being executed as we speak, and which will take about 10 to 12 months to be completed.
Minister of Nature Ursula Ottens is driving the Climate Resilience Initiative. But he says to be successful in this goal, it requires a united front, including members of the local community.
Climate change is real. We are already feeling the effects as a little island, as a small island in the Caribbean. We are already feeling the effects. 32% of our beaches has already disappeared because of erosion, and 45% of our mangroves have already been disappearing because of climate change. So climate change is real. It's how we, as a small island, adapt ourselves to mitigate the impacts. That is how we have to do. And it's going to require a mind shift in our community. We all have to change our habits so that as an island we can be ready to adapt ourselves to how we deal with climate change. And lastly, we will be able to leave a better nation for the future generations to come.
No matter how you look at it, nature, beautiful Mother Nature, is truly one area that impacts every single aspect of our island. So good thing that it looks like all partners are willing to be collaborative on this effort and work effectively together.
We had the participation of all the partners from the government sector, but all of the other sectors that are forming part of the NCRC. Also, my fellow colleague ministers were present to make sure that this is something that is carried by all ministries, because it affects all sectors of our community, and we have to be prepared whenever we receive the data, the results from these studies. We all have to be prepared how we're going to be implementing them in different sectors, so that we have to make sure that our island is resilient.
Sally Yozel is from the Stimson Center. Stimson looks at the big picture, collects crucial data, then takes a close look at Aruba. The lead researchers from the U.S. went on a lengthy island tour so they can fully grasp what they are dealing with in Aruba to be more accurate in their findings and recommendations on how this one happy island can tackle climate change.
We first do research into international issues, national issues, and really try to understand what is going on from the public data and information that is available. We'll go to the World Bank, we'll go to the UN, we'll get those big data sets. But to be honest, climate change is local. So we can do all the desk research we want, but we need to come to Aruba and find the experts and work with the experts to understand the issues. Because those who think that they can figure out climate change from a regional or a global, it happens in your own backyard. So that's where we really need to understand what is happening.
Sally says balance is key.
How do we get that sustainable balance and make sure that the people, the businesses, and the environment are safeguarded over the long term? I mean, let's not forget, this is a sun, sand, and sea island, and people want to come to a place where the water is clean to swim in, where the corals are healthy, where the heat is not too much. And climate change is going to stress all of that. So how do we look from, again, the water, the wastewater, the trash, all of those issues to make sure we improve those situations so that it all stays in a sustainable way for the future, healthy.
We have the first introductory risk assessment completed. There's still work to be done on climate resilience, and Sally and her team will need to lean on our local experts and vice versa.
To be successful, we need to get into the community and find the best experts from a broad spectrum: business, academia, government, and really interview, survey these people, the people who have this integrated approach. That's why having the NCRC working with us and really being our partner to integrate across all these different sectors. We can't be stovepipe, because climate change is not a stovepipe issue. It is an integrated issue. It affects, it's multidimensional, I guess is the best way of putting it. And that's how we're going to approach this whole assessment, risk assessment, vulnerability assessment that we'll be doing for Aruba.
When it comes to the topic of climate change, dialogue is important, and the conversation was certainly flowing at the first general meeting.
I'm very happy with not only the people that showed up, but also the discussions we had today, the questions that were raised, the recommendations that were provided. So as much as Corvi was here to present, we also wanted input and feedback from the stakeholders in terms of, don't forget this study that we did, consider this element or this risk that we're facing right now, energy consumption, for instance, that was mentioned, infrastructure, housing, flooding. There's so many items there. And the input that we received from the different stakeholder institutions, both on the public, private, and also the NGO side, was well received. And we're grateful for that also, because that's exactly the type of engagement we're looking for with the different stakeholder institutions within the NCRC.